So today's episode of Cosmic Common Sense is how not to get ripped off by a psychic and how to choose one that's right for you.
You can be better than you are. You could be swinging on a star.
So how do you know what psychic is best for you to go to and who's legit and who's not? Well, hopefully these tips will be able to help you determine that. The first tip for you is the obvious. Get references. Ask your friends. Just about everybody's at least been to a psychic or heard of a psychic, right? So that's a great place to start. Now, the thing to remember is a couple of things about this is your friend may have had a great experience with a psychic, but you may not be like really thrilled with that person. It doesn't mean that person is a bad psychic. It just means that maybe you just didn't connect with them. And that's okay, but at least that's a place to start. Now, the other question to ask your friend is, are you being helped by this person? Has this person given you helpful information, or are they just impressing you with all this ooga booga like names and dates and things that they couldn't possibly know? That's all really nice and impressive, but that's not really where you're getting your best bang for your buck. Another great place to get referrals is from other psychics. I always have a list of referrals that I can give to other people if they don't connect with me. I have a very unique style and I'm not going to connect with everybody. And that's fine. I would rather see somebody go to a psychic that's reputable than just kind of wander around in the dark trying to figure out which one's right and which one's not. That's why I'm doing this video. The next tip I have for you is to check credentials. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're going to want to know if your doctor's licensed. You're going to want to know if your therapist is licensed, right? Why would you not want to know if your psychic has some sort of valid credentials from the industry somewhere? There is no psychic license. And even if they have a business license, that does not make them a legitimate psychic, okay? Anybody can get a business license to run an entertainment business. So what you want to do is just ask what they're certified in. If they've had training in certain areas, how long was their training? Who did they study with? And then you can go and check those people's credentials. Look, it only takes a Google minute to figure this stuff out. And it's worth it, because if you're going to plunk down your hard-earned money, you want to make sure these people know what they're doing. Another way is to go to a store. Generally, those brick and mortar stores that have been there for a really long time, they're going to have like a little stable of readers that they have that are reliable and consistent, because nobody's going to want to keep a reader around for very long that isn't good. Now, that does happen though, and you may get some inexperienced ones, but really for the most part, at least you know that, you know, if people have been coming to that store for a long time and the readers have been consistently good, that you're more than likely going to get a good reader there. The next tip is to leave reviews. The only way to stop bad psychics from practicing out there is to leave legitimate reviews. Now, here's the thing with that though. Be fair. Remember, just because you didn't hear what you wanted to hear or get the answers that you wanted to get doesn't mean you had a bad reading. So really think about it before you write something negative about a psychic on a site. But if you definitely have felt like you were ripped off and they were just, you know, giving you a bunch of hooey, you know, write it up, put it out there. Another thing to watch out for is that having the reader make it be your fault because the reading isn't good. Look, it's all about communication, okay? It's not your fault if a reading sucks, if a reader isn't doing their job. But you do have to keep an open mind. You do have to answer some questions for sure. And you really don't want to just come in there with a big wall up between you and the reader. It really has to be a nice flowing exchange. And sometimes two people's communication styles just don't work. And it's perfectly okay to say, you know what, I'm just not feeling this. I think I'm going to cut this reading short. Another thing to watch out for once you're in a reading is that feeling of being bullshitted, basically. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Now, there's a lot of very confident readers out there, but there are also some that just think they know it all. And so don't let anybody make you feel like they have super magical powers that you just don't understand, and you know, you have no control over certain things, and they're the all-being and all-knowing. It's crap. Trust what feels right for you. Another tip is be smart. If you go for a $10 reading, you're going to get a $10 reading. And chances are, if you go to those people that offer those $10 readings on the big signs on the side of the road, you're going to end up losing a lot more than $10 when they tell you you have bad energy around you and you have to spend all this money for them to pray for you. It's a con, folks, and you get what you get when you don't do your research. Those people will usually impress you with one or two little tidbits of information that seem to relate to you. Oh, you're just such a good person and nobody nobody understands you, or they'll give you something that's actually a psychic hit. You know, these days sometimes they really do that. But then they're looking at your body language, they're watching your eyes, they're asking these very indirect, seemingly indirect questions, getting information from you. It's a horrible, horrible game. It's called cold reading, and it's bad. Stay away from it. Do your due diligence and pay the money for somebody who's worth it, for crying out loud. Which actually tags on to the next thing I wanted to talk about was, and this is how you can enter into a reading with a better attitude. There is no such thing as an emergency psychic reading, as my friend Karen says. There isn't. There just isn't, people. If you can't make a decision, there's something else going on. A psychic probably can't help you with that. So really, if you have a big decision that you have to make and you want to weigh the pros and cons, do your due diligence again and find somebody that you can work with that is going to actually be able to help you see what your options are. And don't just jump into it and go and asking somebody, should I do this? Should I do that? Look, you have the power of decision. You can make a decision, make one. It's okay. Or wait. But don't jump into something that's going to get you ripped off, conned, or very dissatisfied with the experience. And the next tip I have for you has to do with these people that tell you, don't work with any other psychic. Don't listen. Run like hell. If any psychic anywhere ever tells you don't work with anybody else, they're not doing you any favors. They are trying to control and manipulate you. That's how they do it. Don't tell anybody. My magic spell won't work if you tell. It's a con game, people, and it's out there. You can read about this every day. It's horrible. Don't be that person. The next tip has to do with people who claim to do everything. Okay? Now, granted, I do a lot of different things. Astrology, tarot, Reiki, life coaching, mediumship. Most of these things I have been highly trained in or have been doing for decades. It is rare, but not impossible, to find folks who can offer several different services. But the ones you want to watch out for are the ones who claim to be able to solve all of your worldly problems. Now, any one of these type of modalities can solve a lot of things in our lives, and there are people who can, they kind of are the one-stop shop. However, you want to be careful of people who over-exaggerate claims of being able to be the only one. That kind of borders on that don't work with any other psychics kind of thing. So, and making sure that they have been trained and possibly certified. There's not a lot of certifications in this business, so sometimes you have to take it at face value. But you just want to make sure that they actually know what they're doing in these different modalities and that they can give it all their best. And the last tip I have for you in this video, and it looks like this is probably going to be a multi-part video because there's so much more I could tell you. But the last tip I want to tell you, watch out for anybody who says they're 100% accurate. There's no such thing. It's bullshit. And if someone claims that, run, walk out, leave, hang up the phone. Don't buy it. They've either got like this hugely overinflated ego, and if that's the case, you're just a dollar to them and they don't give a shit about you anyways, or they're just completely lying. So seriously, really think about it. I don't know what my percentage is. I really don't. But I know I've had clients with me for years and years. That's probably the best way to find out is, if you can get references or find references on their, on their website from clients who've been with them for a very long time. Look for those referrals and those reviews in that way. So, in conclusion, get referrals, leave reviews, use your spidey senses. Don't be conned into exclusivity. Ask for proof of credentials. Be sure they're honest about their strengths and watch out for overinflated claims of accuracy. If you follow these simple, basic steps, you're likely to get the best results and feel empowered and educated and enlightened. So share your stories of positive readings that you've had with people or negative readings. We need to get the word out there. That's the only way to kind of keep this stuff in line and keep people from getting really, really seriously financially ruined by the wrong people. So definitely share the information, share this video, subscribe to it, visit my website at astrogirl12.com, and send your questions to cosmiccommonsense@gmail.com, and I'll answer them right here on video. Until next time, keep an open mind, but not so open your brains fall out.